citizen participation. Are there any members of the public who wish to provide commentary to the planning committee? Online? Okay. Hearing none, I'll move on to the approval of the meeting minutes from our May 9th meeting. I'll ask for a motion and a second, and then discussion on the minutes. Second, Charlie.
Second.
Any discussion, edits, revisions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Okay, communications and announcements. We have none at this time. And we're going to start off with reports and actions on old business. I'm going to ask Stacy to start us off with the Orange County Transportation Council staff reports.
Work is progressing with the TMA Freight Group large truck crash analysis, and the on-call transit services RFP is out. The proposals for that are due on July 15th, and drafting of the on-call transportation services RFP and the countywide transit feasibility study RFP should begin soon. We're also putting together reference materials for the planning committee to review regarding updating the OCTC procedures, which hope to have those available by our August 8th meeting. And we're hoping to have a new planner on board in mid-August. That should help with revisions to the object website as well as assisting with the TIP update.
Stacy, thank you. Are there any other member reports? Yes, around the room.
The traffic operations, this is the time to update.
Sure.
The project in Middletown, the traffic operation is moving very well. This is the last year of construction, and hopefully it looks to be on time. Be done by the end of this year.
That's very good. Jacob, thank you.
From the city of Newburgh, the Walsh Road Bridge on the border between the town of New Windsor and the city of Newburgh is under construction. The bridge has been removed. Piles for the new bridge abutments are going to be installed shortly, and looks like the bridge will be completed in the spring of 2025. The project's great, well underway.
Thank you. Any other member reports? Okay, hearing none, I'll move on to new business. I wanted to take a few moments to review our funding request. We had a total of 5 requests for funding for 4 existing projects and 1 new project. After the city of Middletown submitted a request for additional funding for the traffic operations project. We'd like the committee to discuss the request, but first we'd like to clarify the process for funding requests. Generally speaking, the bulk of all funding requests should be occurring as part of the TIP development process. OCTC has historically had mainly legacy projects on its TIP, at least with respect to funds flowing through OCTC. So calls for projects for new projects have not traditionally been done, given that was already in the queue. With funding available under the current transportation bills, it may be possible, I emphasize may, to do this in the future, but OCTC staff are also recommending that we do a call for additional funding for existing projects, as well as ensure that a level playing field for all the members. We also want to encourage members that have TIP-funded projects to run into potential financing issues, and it happens to everyone. We recognize that. To bring that to the attention of the planning committee prior to authorizing any work or contracts that would rely upon additional funding under the TIP. The goal is to ensure that the funds are fairly distributed to address transportation needs throughout the county, and the need for unanticipated and previously unbudgeted TIP funding can impact the achievement of this goal. In terms of procedures to request additional funding, using New York State DOT sponsor request form, we have been advised by DOT that this form are undergoing review and may be revised in the future. For requests for additional funds, it's been asked that the sponsor request form first be submitted to the Orange County Transportation Council for our review and discussion prior to submission to DOT. We wanted to confirm with DOT representatives at this meeting whether the form should be submitted To New York State DOT after discussion and tentative approval by the planning committee and after formal approval by the policy board. Also to confirm if the same procedures would apply to requests for project schedule changes or other matters. I see we have, not to put you on the
No,
spot.
it's okay. I want to say yes, but I also want to confirm because this would be Orietta, so I just want to at least double check with her before I say that. But I would say yes, but I will get back to you at least by this afternoon or tomorrow morning.
Alexander, that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Moving on to the funding request and available block bins, a document with reference notes for this discussion was included in the email packets as well as the notes of the project. With regard to available funds and block bins, we have the following: according to June 3rd, ESTIP project list data download. Orange County Transportation Council has $3.288 million in surface transportation block fund for off-system bridges. That will be allocated to projects in concert with the Bridge New York awards, which will hopefully be announced soon. So just as a refresher for everyone, we had agreed, the council had agreed to fold in our off-system bridge block pin into the Bridge New York round. We did that. We reviewed a number of projects that came in, selected 2 bridges. One which will be wholly funded by New York State DOT, the other which is partially funded by the New York State DOT Bridge New York funds, balance of which will be funded through the Orange County Transportation Council off-system block pins, and that's a project in the town of Warwick. So that leaves $3.493 million in CMAQ funds and $3.953 million in surface transportation block grant large urban funds for a combined availability of $7.466 million. Please also keep in mind that we're moving into a TIP update. So we anticipate additional funding will become available for fiscal years 2026 through 2030. So just a brief synopsis of the request for additional funds. First one is the project is the City of Middletown Traffic Operations Stage 1. Project has been financed with both CMAQ and SDBG large urban funds. The request is for an additional $782,000. Does the city wish to provide any more details on this funding?
We have provided an, detailed explanation why we need to fund the money, and it's really for construction inspection for the 3rd year that was never budgeted for. And we have detailed hours we expect to spend next year or this year, this coming year. So everything was very well documented and attached to our request. And we have to elaborate if there's a need for it.
Jacob, thank you. The next project is Village of Curious Joel roadway improvements. This project has been financed with high priority program HPP funds, which have been discontinued, and SDBG large urban funds. The request is for an additional $3,440,000. Is there anyone from the village on that would wish to provide more details on this funding request?
May I ask a question if there's nobody there?
Sure.
Well, for KG request, it seems like the engineer's report was approved in 2016. And right now we have the plans submitted. We don't even have DOT approval for the plans and the contract documents, my understanding from what I read from their form. So I'm not sure how ready they will be to tap into the available funding that we have right now for 2025, 2026. Possibly beyond 26, then I don't see the issue with it, but they will have to answer for that. Maybe they have new information.
Okay.
The contract document approval is pending DOT approval.
Okay.
Their engineer's report or their design approval was in 2016.
Okay, we can.
I just bringing up to the committee's attention here.
We'll raise that awareness
Yep.
to the village.
Of course, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, we'll ask that for clarification. It's a very valid point.
Of course, if there's adequate funding right now to go over, to cover all of this that has been submitted, then I don't have any problem with it, and if they're not ready for it, it would be pushed back for the following years. I don't have any problem with it, being approved if we have adequate funding.
Alan.
Okay, Gedalia, welcome.
Hello.
I'll give you a moment to settle in. There was a request for clarification on your first project that you submitted. Ray, do we have extra agendas? Oh, over here.
Take everything. Have a package there.
So we were just, we're at the point of the agenda where we're reviewing
Last item.
the request for. So I just went over your first project, which is the request for the roadway improvements. The request for $3,444,000. The question that came up was just one of, in the submission, it noted that New York State DOT approval was pending. Can you just provide an update on that in terms of project readiness?
Yes. So the project is on the tip for a long time, and the reason why it took so long is because there were 75 different parcels of right-of-way taking that had to be resolved. A few of them was resolved. Most of them were resolved amicably. A few of them had to go through the eminent domain process, which was resolved that way. So we had to submit, we actually submitted all the blue folders to DOT, the right-of-way office for review, and we submitted full construction design plans to the local project units for their review. So at this stage, it's fully submitted to DOT, both branches. All the right-of-ways are resolved, temporary easement, permanent fee title, very many of them. And we're now waiting for DOT to sign off on the construction plans and on the right-of-way. And if they do, we're ready to start going out of it.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. The next project is also Ferris Royal for the Park and Ride lot extension. And you're requesting an additional $75,000 dollars for that project. Is there anything that you want to add to that
We're
request?
requesting more than 75. We're requesting 75.
635,000.
Yes.
Okay. Meyer.
Mayor, sorry. I see that.
Got it. We just took the first round. All right, so 645,000.
So as the project history for this project is that it moved, we went through a relocation of the park and ride. We had 2 park and rides, and we wanted to enlarge park and ride on Bakertown Road. We moved the park and ride enlargement to Potter's Road. At the time of the transition, we stuck with the same amount of money for that project, but the original project listing was made like 5-6 years ago, long before the current economic situation played out with inflation and all that. So the number was an old number, moved, transitioned to a new site. Again, I wish we would have been at a stage of having gone out to bid and knowing exactly what the project cost is. We're hopeful to be in that place by the end of the year. Again, this was also already submitted as the first submission to DOT, but we're only in about 30% of design. So we're hopefully to move up to 100% by the end of the summer. And then we'll know the exact numbers. So this is all based on cost estimates in today markets versus when the project originated years ago.
Thank you.
No right of way is just in this one, so this is a straightforward village-owned property. That's not going to be a delay.
All right, moving on. We have a request from Orange County for Heritage Trail Segment 3. As with the previous request, this project has typically been financed with CMAQ funds. There's a possibility it may be eligible for SDG large urban, but that would need to be confirmed with FHWA unless that possibility was reviewed. So we were just kind of looking into that. The request is for an additional $1,195,000. Deanna, anything you just would like to add?
What we'd like to do is move the construction and construction inspection to fiscal year 2025. The plan is to bid it out later this year, and the reason for the updated additional funds is because of project estimates increase, along with additional project scope that includes an additional parking lot along the trail in the city of Middletown. And currently, the draft design is with New York State DOT, and we're waiting for comments.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then we have a new project request from Town of New Windsor. New York State Route 207 at Moores Hill Road. That's a widening project. This is a project, and OCTC staff is in the process of confirming with the ICG whether it would need air quality conformity review, most likely a hotspot review, if anything. So this would mean a regional review by NIMTIC and Dutchess County Transportation Council would need to be necessary only, would not be necessary only Orange County Transportation Council review. As soon as we have an answer, we'll get back to the planning committee with that. Again, the project may be eligible for either CMAQ or SDG large urban funding, but we need to confirm that, and the request is for $1,493,282.48. Is there anything from the town that we wish to provide more detail?
Yes. This project is something that the town's been working towards or trying to bring to fruition since 2007. We had a project, a developer that was going to do a project, a warehouse project, a corporate park in the area of Silver Stream Road. And there's a bottleneck as you come under the thruway overpass and you start to pass Morse Hill Road. Everybody kind of backs up there as people are trying to make a left-hand turn onto Morse Hill Road. So back in 2007, because that problem currently existed and they had a developer coming in that was going to bring additional traffic, they met with DOT, they met with the developer, and they were trying to get that expanded and put the left-hand turn lane in. The developer was on board, except that the economy turned and their project never went through. But the town of New Windsor continued its efforts. We purchased the 8-foot wide property from Verizon that was necessary to widen the road there. And we've been having meetings with DOT in connection with their, well, not the DOT, but the Thruway Authority in connection with the overpass that was expanded, trying to coordinate those two projects together. And my understanding is that the town of New Windsor also had a different developer agree to do all the widening except for the top course and the striping. So we've acquired the property. We had a developer ready to do the top course and striping, but they didn't, DOT I think didn't want us to leave it binder. So that's why we're trying to coordinate with the Thruway Authority at the time to merge those two projects together, but that didn't work. The timing, I guess, was off. So it's just been kind of since '07, it's, start, stop, but we've continued our efforts into trying to bring developers on board, purchase the property. There's another very recent submission in preliminary stages for another project on Silver Stream Road, which, if that goes through, we'd be interested in asking that developer to contribute to the project. But the traffic there backs up. Even as I was driving here, just at lunchtime, it was already backed up, but during rush hour, it'll back up from Five Corners all the way to the airport. So that is a real bottleneck there for the town of New Windsor, and
Just to add one,
since '07, it's
one
not
more
getting any
segment.
better.
We had imaging, aerial footage from
If you look at
08 or 07
13.
out, and then current from Friday. So like, New Windsor is just flat out getting crushed with the ability to even move traffic. And on top of it, there's a secondary project that's gonna be started with DOT that's gonna impact the repaving project as well with more congestion. Short-term impact, but still realistically, traffic cannot move on the 207 corridor, the 300 interchange. And we need help.
Understood. I've experienced that queuing issue of stretch of road. So, yeah, certainly understand the need. And whatever. Unfortunately, we also have, limited funding. So, but it's very important to kind of, I'm very happy that you brought the project forward. So it kind of gets it in the queue, so to speak, and for, as we prepare for the TIP update. So,
If I may, Mr. Chair, since they're referring to a state road, it may not fall under the local projects, but it may be funded through a DOT line as a state road. So we have a DOT representative here that could potentially help out if there's any interest from DOT to improve Route 207. Is it intersection 207 with the town road? Is the other road?
The other Morris Hill Road is the town road,
So
correct?
it's a town intersecting with the state.
Correct.
Maybe easier if it becomes part of maybe a blend of DOT and town of Windsor.
it's very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that could be discussed. I mean, I say probably get in touch with local projects and see that type, but yeah, I mean, unfortunately.
I've been in discussion with Mr. Smith,
Everybody
who's the
wants
project
the millions.
engineer right now on the repaving, Mr. Charleston,
Okay, so
Mr.
they're-
McMillan, I mean,
Yeah, okay, so they know, they're aware of it.
Very
They're-
aware,
they
yeah.
know.
We've
Okay.
had meetings with Lee Zimmer over the years. He's been invited to all the meetings. I mean, there's probably been at least 3 meetings in the 18 years that I've been there, with regard to like different players, but including DOT.
I could definitely talk to Lee.
State senator representatives, our state senators, our assembly people have been invited to the meetings. It's not for lack of effort. For sure.
I can,
On Captain Winter's part.
I could definitely talk to both of them and see, because maybe they've already kind of had a discussion, maybe they sort of have something in mind possibly. So I mean, I definitely can talk to Lee and Harold and see if there's anything. It's worth a shot.
Okay.
we appreciate it.
Yeah, of course,
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's good.
Tony Cardone asked if I could call him and if he could be on speakerphone to talk about, I guess, the KJ project.
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna put you on speaker, okay? All right, Tony, you're on speaker. I'll bring you over. He's on speaker.
Tony, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay. We have you on speaker, we can hear you. So
Okay. Yeah, I guess, you have a road improvement there for Parish Joe.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, what roadways are there?
County Route 44, where Curious Joel is volunteering to upgrade a county highway by adding lanes and adding sidewalks and adding traffic signalization on a stretch of County Route 44 that runs in the village of Curious Joel. And the other stretch is on Bakertown Road, coming in from County Route 105 to the Deneb Road intersection.
And the total cost is only $5,608?
That's the town of Monroe contribution. The rest is going to be paid by OCTC. You need to know how to read these forms. They're missing zeros on your chart. The state lists these projects 5 million, they omit the zeros.
I was gonna ask that. That was my next question.
Yeah,
It's 5.6.
Yeah, so it's 5,608,000.
And you're looking at you can look at over 50% increase from the original.
As the original was submitted about, I believe, close to
It was 2016.
12 years ago, I wanted to say, 2016, it's more than 2016, that 2016 is when design approval was already granted. The project was on the tip for a couple of years before 2016. So the original project was submitted about 10 years ago. There were 75 right-of-way takings that needed to be resolved through eminent domain and negotiations. And DOT is very strict on the right-of-way issues to be resolved prior to moving to final design. So in the run of 10 or 12 years since the project was initiated, and especially in light of the last few years of cost increases, that's the cost that we're estimating right now. As I said here before, that we're going to know the exact numbers after the bids are in. Hopefully that's still going to be in 2024. When we have the exact numbers, that's when the numbers come in. And whatever is not part of the bid package, not part of the bidding cost, goes back to the pot to be distributed to everybody else.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I'm not in favor of that. I'm not in favor of that increase. I'm not in favor of it.
Okay, we otherwise.
Gonna move on, and any other questions on that particular project?
What would we expect? It's an 82% increase for 8 or 10 years. I don't know what you're only got the 50% increase. So, but I have a question in here. It seems to me we have all these requests, which are all could be legitimate requests, but I thought we're putting them in a queue of projects which are ready. The only one that seems ready in this whole group of them is the city of Middletown, unless I'm reading something wrong. The rest of them aren't ready to go.
Well, our intention of putting them on the agenda today is really just so that the policy board has an understanding of the requests that have come in. It's clear from the discussion today, some of the projects are pending DOT approval. We have a project from the county that the construction actually is being pushed out to 2025, so.
But we had talked, we want to put them in order as they're ready to go, so they don't sit there, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So I only see Middletown is ready to go, KJ's, the Windsors, unfortunately, we can put them in line, but that's what I thought we were trying to keep the thing going that way.
We're all in favor of approving first. Goes without saying.
I mean, it's only one ready, if there was another one ready, I wouldn't say that.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, what I would recommend is, we're going to ask for updates on other local project sponsors. Clearly, project readiness is very important. The council has done very well with its performance measures. I think we're at 83 or 87%. It's one of those numbers, which is a vast improvement. So, point well taken. But I think the purpose of today is really to start the discussion, raise awareness of the projects that are in the queue, and encourage, each of the local project sponsors who, submitted the request, just to keep moving through the process, with the goal of getting to project readiness. And then, at that point, we'll go through and, the council will have to go through then, review those projects and make a decision in terms of which are the next projects to be funded. We don't have enough funding to fund everything.
It's about $80,000 shy to fund everything, if the math is correct. And that will be splitting New Windsor between CMAC and SDBG large urban, which we would have to confirm with the eligible to both.
Let me clarify the Crystal project. Since we weren't in charge of the schedule when the sponsor request was sent out by the county and by the council, we have to take what we have now. At this point, it's only cost estimates. This is considered like a placeholder. We submitted these cost estimates with the clear understanding we're going to be going out to bid in 2024, hopefully on both projects. When we have the exact numbers, we come back to the council with the exact numbers. We're not here to tie down funding that may not be needed, but there was no other alternative other than not filling out the form and be stuck in 2-3 months from now. So it's basically a placeholder. We're going to have the bids come in, and that's going to be the numbers that we're going to be.
That's fair.
So if I may, I appreciate Charlie and KJ's support, but, we have an immediate need right now. We have a contract that's signed right now with WSP. The construction, this is the last year of construction, like Charlie was saying. It's a given, it's ongoing right now, and we started spending money on it. So we would need, honestly, if it's okay with everyone, we would need some action on this one, because it's given, it's not gonna go up or down or go left or right, it's there. KJ is gonna be, I'm sorry?
I wasn't here when the meeting opened. How much is your amount?
782,000.
Absolutely in support of the voting.
Thank you. But that's what we need action on, Alan, if I may, because, we gotta pay people and we gotta make sure that the project is constructed by the end of the year, it's completed. We have a deadline for the construction.
Okay, I don't see an issue with that. I think it's been a good discussion around the table. This is the, as you know, the planning committee. So if it's the wish of the board, I'll just ask, I don't know if it's a formal vote or consensus.
I guess, and this also begs the question of where, because the form has to go to DOT.
Oh,
So I don't know
yes.
if they need to approve for policy votes to add, so we would have to do the TIF amendment. And then it's, well, no, it's an existing project, so 14 days public comment for, well, I don't know if we could do it as a mod and not an amendment. And 25% threshold.
If you need for a month, if you need to take the 700 for a couple of months, we have a line item where there is funding in it. We don't mind having taken it out of the traditional line item with understanding that when the process plays out, that's going to come back to the traditional line.
It may be a modification.
That's, yeah.
We just gotta double check. Maybe what if I just ask for consensus?
This is the end of the long process, right? You're at the end. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
I think we're all, people like myself are in favor of getting it done.
We just want to double check policy, whether if it's a modification, it's a little easier for us. So I just want to ask her a question. So that we can move forward.
Major change of project policy. It's not in the policy.
Look, we could vote, we could vote to authorize it and giving you the opportunity to read it, not under duress.
Okay.
So it's a conditional approval, assuming that it fits within the policies outlined, instead of having them need to find the answer right now.
Because I
So
think,
it's a conditional vote. It's vote based on the condition that you could do it.
yeah, have planning move forward, have policy that can move forward to
Exactly.
take what steps we need to.
So,
I make the motion.
yeah, a second on that?
Second.
Jason? All the board members in favor? Anyone opposed?
I am opposed.
No, this is for Middletown.
Oh, it's different project?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I know the project, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Tony.
Tony, I see.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome. My apologies.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and I appreciate the board's giving us a little breathing room, we just want to make sure we're doing it procedurally correct.
Okay, but we gotta do it before we have
Cut off, Jacob.
We might go.
I think that's what I was just gonna
Thank
say,
you very much.
when we do the local project sponsor reviews, the updates, also, if anyone has completed projects, there's funds that can be disencumbered.
Sure.
That way, it'll be added back, so more will come available to everyone else.
So we'll move on. Thank you for that. Next meeting dates.
I have one item for business.
Yeah.
Being new to this committee, I imagine this is appropriate for here, these discussions. Last week, we had a tractor trailer overturn at the intersection of 94 and County Route 21 in Warwick, over by ShopRite, Price Chopper, Pennings area. Tractor trailer lost its brakes going down what's commonly referred to as Warwick Turnpike, but it's County Route 21. And 1 year ago, we had a similar situation where a tractor trailer lost its brakes and T-boned one of our police officers, sending her in critical condition to Westchester Medical Center. And I think the immediate gut reaction for a lot of people is to say you need to lower the weight limit on the road, but we have to realize that these are local deliveries that are being made. You know, the one from last year was a delivery being brought to the middle school right down the street, and then this truck happened to be full of fresh produce going to one of the supermarkets that was right there in the area. So I don't know. I guess I just wanted to mention it, bring it up. This will not be the last time. I mean, it could happen again, and God forbid, a school bus of kids driving past at the same time. So I'm just asking that it be considered, looked at. It is a county road, and I know that the county will say that they've added a bunch of signs, you know, reduce low gear ahead, all this other stuff, but obviously signs are not working. The only way you can really change this is to compel them by reducing the weight limit on the road.
We'll bring it to DPW's attention. And Jesse, if there's any additional information you might have, that would be useful. I don't know.
I can send you accident
I
reports.
was going to ask the accident report.
Mile markers of intersections.
Yes.
Yeah, it's intersection 94 and County Route 21. Yeah.
94 is a state road, so the danger part is on the county.
The county road is the one that's a long, steep. It's really, the thing is, it's deceivingly long. That's the problem. It's almost safer to go over the mountain than to go down this steep, long route, because I think people they're not taking it seriously because it's just a long straightaway. They're losing their brakes, and it's just because of the length and the duration of the downhill portion.
This may be something in the future that we might also be able to take up with an intersection, UTWP.
Yeah.
project, once we get that. Any other, local?
I just want to reiterate point on the Commercial project. As I said before, the vast majority of the funding is to improve Orange County highways. That happens to be going through First Joel. So from First Joel's point of view, we're donating our resources to improve a county road and make the county road safer and more user-friendly. It's not a village road. It should have been sponsored by the county DPW. We took the responsibility on ourselves to apply for it, to go through all the right-of-way acquisitions, and to go through the design, and even pay the 20% local match that we're gonna have to pay in order to bring a county road up to the standards and make it safe. There were fatalities on that road already, multiple accidents, and we're not here to ask the county to pay for it. We're here to make it part of the project. So it may be that our neighboring town supervisor is opposed to the project. Remember, we're doing a county service here on the vast majority of the project.
Understood. Thank you.
I just want to add to that. There is currently some issues with the village of KJ, who decided to improve, break down guardrails on Forest Avenue, Forest Road, without any approval or notification to the town of Monroe. So that's a great dialogue that Mr. Sagan has presented, but in reality, other parts of the borders of Monroe and KJ have been, safety has been sacrificed.
But that's not related to this project, is that correct?
No, it's not related to that
Okay.
project.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go on to our next meeting dates. We had to reschedule, August 13th and September 19th meetings. So that they're canceled and rescheduled as follows. Our next meeting will be Thursday, August 8th, from 1 to 3 p.m. in the Legislative Statutory Committee Room at the Orange County Government Center, 275 Main Street, Goshen, New York. Thursday, September 12th, from 1 to 3 p.m. in the Legislative Statutory Committee Room, again at the County Government Center. And then just mark your calendars for Tuesday, October 15th, 1 to 3 p.m. in the Legislative Committee Room at the Government Center. All the meetings will be hybrid as usual. However, in-person quorum is required for all policy board meetings. If you can't attend, please send someone with a proxy. The August meeting date is likely firm. The September, October dates are tentative pending any New York State DOT, FHWA, or FTA deadline-driven requirements that may result in adjustments to accommodate public comment periods and filing deadlines. I'll now ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.